And kind is not the same as nice. Kind sometimes is telling someone something that they need to hear. Stop thinking about what you're doing and start thinking about what you're being. I had a coach years ago help me really think about how I wanted people to feel when I communicated with them. And the three words that came out were direct, kind, and transparent. And kind is not the same as nice. Kind sometimes is telling someone something that they need to hear. That's kind of a hard thing to hear, but it's because you want to help make them better. And I don't believe in making people work too hard for understanding what you're trying to say. So being direct, and then transparency. And I often sit in meetings. I would bet 2 or 3 times a week I'll sit in a meeting and I'll say, I don't think I understand this. Can you take a minute and walk me through this? I think we think as leaders we're supposed to know it all and understand it all. And oftentimes, if we're not understanding it, someone around us is not as well. So that's part of my transparency. I think when you're transparent, people feel less fear. They're not worrying about what you're thinking because they know, because you've shared it directly.
So how do you find that balance between giving them context on not necessarily why you were late, but how the reasons you were late affect how you are showing up in that meeting right then?
Well, I have had to work very hard at becoming a an effective listener. It's been a life's work for me. I I actually took coaching to get better at it, and I remember the coach said, I kept saying, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and he's like, stop thinking about what you're doing and start thinking about what you're being. He said, and he said it to me enough times. I said, you're gonna have to explain it to me. He said, you need to be curious and be interested. Be curious and be interested. And that really changed how I started looking at those things. So for transparency, I think about, does this help them understand what is happening or the context, even the context of being late? Secondly, am I completely disturbing a meeting or am I adding to the meeting? So anybody who would come in late to a meeting, that's already not good, right? And so you don't want to come in and disrupt. I'm so sorry, I'm late, and what's going on? And people are in the middle of trying to do something. So I think it's important to come in quietly. And then it's okay to say, my apologies for being late. I apologize, I was late. And that is transparent enough. Maybe later on I might be talking to someone and saying, I'm gonna have to start 10 minutes earlier because this traffic just isn't getting any better. To add a human element to it. And when I think about transparency for what do I share with people, is do they need to know this information to do their job better? Does this help them better understand the why of what we're doing? Does this, when people are engaged, they have to believe two things. They have to believe that tomorrow can be bigger than today, and they have to know where they fit in. And so does that transparency help them see how tomorrow will be bigger than today? And does it show them where they fit in? Because oftentimes when people are disengaged, they're like, I don't think I have a big part in this. I don't feel like what I'm doing is part of this important part over here. And so that's where I share that and lean that way.
This reminds me of advice a mentor gave me a long time ago to center, enter, and turn. That rather than barging into the meeting or and starting the talk with all the great advice I had, to take a moment before I went into that room to center myself. Then, when I was solid in myself, then I could enter the room calmly, quietly, as you suggested, and take a moment to observe what's going on. Whether the meeting started yet or not, there's, I'm not the reason. There's something going on already that may be going exactly what needs to happen. And once I've entered the room in a centered way and understand what's going on, then I can have an intelligent clue about how to transform that meeting, that gathering, bring them more into the direction that I'm hoping to take them.
Leaders don't get the luxury of reacting. They must, with discipline, respond. And I love how you said, Michael, centered. Um, uh, People are counting on you as a leader, whether you're the CEO or the head of a department or even leading yourself. Because, you know, you lead yourself, you lead others, you lead leaders, you lead an organization. Everybody has, and you can't lead anyone else unless you can lead yourself. So I always start with, am I leading myself properly? And leaders don't have that luxury of doing this, something's coming this way and reacting and making this back and forth. Leaders should come up to something and create a buffer, let it settle, and then decide which way it should go. And we shouldn't overreact to things, and we shouldn't raise our voices. You as you're introducing me, what a kind introduction. You're talking about, I believe, leading with joy. Joy is not an easy and soft thing. Joy is not everything's going right and we're happy. Happiness is something that's based on, I got the things I wanted, therefore I'm happy. Joy is finding a moment, even amongst a stressful time or a tough time. And I always like that saying, joy is the is happiness that transcends circumstance. That you look at that moment and bring, it might be just, hey, let's have a cup of coffee, let's just sit and talk about this, because we should be providing this steady place that creates a safe place that people can grow and learn. A safe place is not always a comfortable place. It's different. I think people think safe means comfortable. It doesn't. Safe means a place where you can speak up and you can share your thoughts and ideas, and those are encouraged, and you're you you're becoming a better version of yourself, because if you're too comfortable, you're not going to grow. And it's creating a place where that the person who's maybe encouraging you or pushing you to go a certain way or learn something is because you trust and know that they have your best interests at heart.
Safe not equal to comfortable is something that I encounter all the time. And an image that came to mind as you were saying that is for when people who are racing yachts, they are in very uncomfortable and could be extremely unsafe conditions for days at a time. They make themselves safe by tying themselves in, and with safety harnesses and other practices of working together and working with the boat and working with the weather, their environment, so that they are safe and they can take the risks, they can challenge themselves and the boat and the other racers in ways that bring joy.